Good morning, everybody. It's Coffee and Questions, and your quick tip of the day. We're going to grab some coffee, and we're going to talk about paint stripper. What's the best one to use? I don't know. There's so many different kinds out there to try, and people favor different ones. But I have tried a great deal of them, not all of them, and I come up with the best one that works best for me, and we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to throw up a picture in just a second. The comment is most of the time all these videos are showing you how to use them to strip down the paint on a car. And they use multiple coats and they go through different processes to do it. I don't strip down cars, but if I was going to, I would still use the same product we're going to talk about, and I would do it the same way. Okay, so let me change the picture. Let me throw up what I use, and we'll go straight to Coffee and Questions. That's the best way, I think, to do this particular video. So here we go. Okay, I just put up a picture of the product that I use. It's aircraft paint remover. It's made by Kleen strip. This is what I use. You can get it off Amazon. Of course, you can buy it out at a lot of the stores now. Locally, I think it's either O'Reilly's or AutoZone. I mean, they carry it. I'm not so sure if the big box stores carry it. I've used different types of strippers, and when I came across this one, I kind of locked onto it because it seems to work the best for everything that I use it for. Lately, I've used it on a couple of old vices that I came across. I picked them up cheap. They were covered with like either a lot of rattle can or somebody had painted them, and I wanted them all stripped back down to, the original cast metal, or cast iron. So I went ahead and I used this product. It works fantastic. You just have to take your time with it, follow the instructions that are on the can, of course, and we're going to go over Coffee and Questions. It'll answer a ton of things here in a sec, but this is the product. It's $52 for a gallon. It's about half of that if you want to get about a quart size. It just depends on what you need. I buy the gallon. I keep it around. Hasn't gone bad on me. I don't know if it's got a shelf life or not, but it's a damn good product. Okay, let's jump right into Coffee and Questions. Here we go. The question, I guess, is preparation-wise. I don't do like a whole lot of preparation with this, but it's with any finish work. I mean, what's the difference between a mediocre finish and a great finish? A little bit more time. I mean, and that's the truth. It's just you know what you're doing, but you don't be in a rush and spend your time and do things right. Now, what I do with this stuff, I put plastic sheeting on the ground, and let's say I'm stripping down a wood project or something, or even that vise that we were talking about. So I have that on the ground because this stuff will eat away at concrete. It eats away at a lot of things. And you want a good, thick pair of rubber gloves, and you want eye protection. And the best thing, wear a vapor mask, but at least get this out of your garage somewhere in a well-ventilated area when you use it. This stuff is caustic. I mean, it will eat away at anything, including your skin. And you can have a bucket of water handy, or know that you can get to like a sink or a basin in your garage, because if you get it on you, it'll start to burn and you have to walk over and wash it off quickly. So those are the things that I would encourage you to make sure that you have on hand before you use it. How many coats do I use? It depends. If you have something that's been painted like several times or more, and depending on what kind of paint and all this other stuff, it may take you more than one coat. I mean, don't be surprised to use like 2 or 3 coats. Now, people, I've watched the videos that did automobiles, they use sometimes 3 and 4 coats before they get this back down to bare metal. Now, on all of these projects that I'm talking about, I haven't had to go 3 coats, but I put it on there, leave it alone, let it do what it does, which is start to lift and eat away at that paint. You can also put like a piece of plastic over the top of whatever you're doing, and that also helps retain it so it doesn't dry out so fast and eat away at the paint more. So if you can do it, do it. If you can't cover it with a piece of plastic, don't. It'll work either way. It's just going to take you a little bit of time. The other question is, well, what are the tools that I use to scrape with? I put it on with these chip brushes. You can get them at the dollar store. You can get them at Harbor Freight. I use about a 2 or 3 inch wide one. I mean, it doesn't matter, just whatever kind of an old brush or something that you want to use to put it on, because I throw the brushes away afterwards. I suppose you could clean them up and reuse them. I don't, because they're cheap enough, but that's what I use. Now, the other thing in terms of what do I use, I have scrapers, metal scraping tools, but I round the edges off on them. I don't want anything that's going to dig into, especially like a wood project. So I just go over to my grinder, I just round the edges off, so that way it prevents that digging in if you slip or turn it wrong. Now, you can usually strip down like metal and stuff with those things that I just said, but there's another technique I use, really coarse, like, one aught steel wool or something like that. And I'll put like a real thin like last coat or whatever after I've stripped the majority of it off. And then I rub the heck out of it and I rub it down with that steel wool and it gets it super clean. I would encourage you to do that. You'll find that it works really well. Now, when you're done, what do we do after we've stripped everything down? Well, I go ahead and it depends on what it is. If it was like that vise, I wash it off real good, soap and water, something like that, because you'll still feel, that film on there. And then I let that dry, and then I wipe the whole thing down with acetone, and now I have it ready for my first coat of primer, and then on to paint. Now, well, what if it's wood? Well, I can go through the same process, but I don't try to use water too much because water is going to create warping in the wood, or it could, depending on what I'm doing. So I'll take it down, I use the steel wool, I clean it off real good, and then I'll sand it, okay? And I try to get as much of this old aircraft paint remover off it as possible, but those are just the ways that I do it, but I'm not doing it on automobiles, like I said. So there's tons of videos out there on that if you want to watch those. Okay, that's about it. I'm going to wrap this up. It was meant to be a quick video on what do I feel is the best paint remover out there. What I've run across so far is this stuff. It works fantastic for me. You can take a look, read all the reviews and everything else. If you, like I said, if you're doing automobiles, which is why people buy this a lot of times. That's why you'll find it in places like AutoZone, O'Reilly's and stuff like that. If you can't find it and you do want to try it, I've got Amazon Prime, so I've bought it on there before too. I always look around to see what the best price is, but if you need it quick, you can try some of the other ones. Maybe somebody will drop a comment and say, hey, I've tried this brand and this brand is the bomb and it works fantastic. Leave me a comment if you run across something better. But like I said, I've tried other brands. This one just seems to actually do a much better job. Okay. I hope you click subscribe, follow me, and we will keep throwing stuff up, and I will always try to get right to the point. Like I've always said, we'll skip through the long intros. I've watched videos on this stuff where people will take that full 15 minutes that YouTube encourages you to use because, well, they want viewer, hang time, and they want people to stay on longer. I understand, but I don't like watching 15 minutes to get 5 minutes of content, so it's frustrating. So anyway, I hope you like the format and what I'm doing. I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.